guys.
It's tea time, you know, all the time. And I'm here to have tea with you. And while we have tea, I'm sure that you don't have very many interesting things to say. So I'll probably entertain you.
I love your hat.
Oh, you like my hat? How delightful. We never get compliments. Oh, things happen. I'm so excited. Wait. Oh, well, I'll reward you with a little poetry by Lewis Carroll. His real name was Charles Dodgson. I don't know if you knew. And he was a mathematics professor, not even interested in childish stories, but he had to make the kids shut up somehow, right? All right, here we go. Child of the pure, unclouded brow and dreaming eyes of wonder, though time be fleet, and I and thou are half a life asunder, thy loving smile shall surely hail the love gift of a fairy tale. I have not seen thy sunny face, nor heard thy silver laughter. No thought of me shall find a place in thy young life's hereafter. Enough that now thou wilt not fail to hear my fairy tale, a tale begun in other days where summer suns were glowing, a simple chime that serves to time the rhythm of our rowing, whose echoes live in memories yet, though envious years would say, forget. Come hearken then, ere voice of dread, with bitter tidings laden, shall summon to unwelcome bed a melancholy maiden. We are but older children, dears, who fret to find our bread times near. Without the frost, the blinding snow, the storm wind's moody madness, within the firelight's ruddy glow and childhood's nest of gladness, the magic words will hold thee fast. Thou shalt not heed the raving blast. And though the shadow of a sigh may tremble through our story, for happy summer days gone by and vanished summer glory, it shall not touch with breath of bale the pleasance of our fairy tale. Thank you. Shall I tell another?
Yes.
Maybe something funny? All right. This one is called You Are Old Father William. You are old, Father William, the young man said, and your hair has become very white, and yet you incessantly stand on your head. Do you think at your age it is right? In my youth, Father William replied to his son, I feared it would injure the brain, but now I am perfectly sure I have none. Why, I do it again and again. You are old, said the youth, as I mentioned before, and you've grown most uncommonly fat. Yet you turned a back somersault in at the door. Pray, what is the reason for that? In my youth, said the sage, as he shook his gray locks, he kept all his limbs very supple, with the use of this ointment. 1 shilling the box. Allow me to sell you a couple. And you are old, said the youth, and your jaws are too weak for anything tougher than soot. Yet you finished the goose with the bones and the beak. Pray, how did you manage to do it? In my youth, said his father, I took to the law and argued each case with my wife, and the muscular strength which it gave to my jaw has lasted the rest of my life. You are old, said the youth. One could hardly suppose that your eye was as steady as ever. Yet you balanced an eel on the end of your nose. What made you so awfully clever? I have answered 3 questions, and that is enough, said his father. Don't give yourself airs. Do you think I can listen all day to such stuff? Be off, or I'll kick you downstairs. I guess I'll do one more. One more. Maybe. Let's see. I am late, you know. The queen will have my head. Oh, what is the matter with me? Change places! New cup, move down, move down, move down. 'Twas brilling, and the slimy toes, to gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the boral groves, and the mome raths outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son. The jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jub bird and shun the Frumios Bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand. Long time the manxome foe he sought. Then rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock, with eyes of flame, came whistling through the tulgey wood and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade with snicker snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galloping back. Hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy! Oh, frabjous day, callooh, callay! He chortled in his joy. 'Twas thrilling, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the moral groves, and the mome raths outgrabe. Off with my hat. Thank you.
That's good. Put your hands together for the Mad Hatter.
Eat me! She said, eat me, and so I did. And the monster spawn spoke polyamorous works of art, insipid by music and the promise of happiness through literature. She decided to do it all orally, and she did. I would not make her dull any longer. We decided that we would go out and wreck my body together, wreck my body on the city. A drink, a drunk, a flying drunk drinking, wasting time in the same spot for 4 hours. As the voice that had invaded earlier finally takes over, urging me onwards towards uncertain fate. This mortal coil. This time I had to laugh, I guess. My hands pressed firm at the pleat of her dress, though I must confess she did not admit to the protest on the direction the fabric was going. Bedroom astronomy, I peeled the stars from out inside her, rearranging the constellations of milky firmament, reinventing personal mythologies, all sordid characters and disasters. Trampled underfoot across wet sand, where silent reeds sway, the wind songs half-heartedly. The next day came and left another. Looking into the water pool, my reflection bouncing around inside the rings of sandy earth. I knew it had to be done. I relinquished my all-willing right hand, the one forgiving, offering it up to my always unsatisfied left hand, the one for receiving, giving myself up for sacrifice. Eat me, and so I did. That's what I like to hear. So what you gotta do is like you get a book, like any book, and just flip it through, flip through it and like pick out a sentence and like throw the sentence down on a piece of paper. And I get another flip and pick another line. So this is what I did. 33 new American lies. I held the sunrise fresh and wet, slippery like a swan. I held the sunrise as I woke up in a house deep in the jungle of an island where the kitchen sink dripped in the glow of fire. Just being there in the morning after all the colors have landed on the steps of a cavernous mouth. My baby machine echoes. The Cubans have carved poems out of beautiful boats, arms stretching out from the wind of banners. Things to pay attention to in 1995. So you finally came through with postcards, a dancing sky, moving where I've never been, as birds spring out from the hills. sounds like a song in broken English of old shoes and old hands reaching for wrinkled shirts. I heard you slipped out into the riot, your tongue numb from a dream of naked angels and ultimate embraces. Far more intimate and deeper than any river. That's why I take down notes, sitting in my socks, gently stirring warm fluids, flowing like dust from God's endless summer, foaming, floating down from the canyons, from wherever you are. Well, it's been a while. All these mean nothing. It's stream consciousness, unconsciousness, just wording things. Whatever your definition of poetry is your definition. I don't even consider this shit poetry, but, you know, gotta have fun with words. Let's see. I'm gonna do one more, then I'm gonna take a break. A man and a woman. It's nothing like the end of the world without a cold nose to worry about. It was somewhere down the road in the streets where the people meet and they try to kill each other and never learn to love each other. Man and a woman forget the world is round, so they go right through it and they stay there. I'll be back.
I'm going to read to you some selected writings. This first one is about being a man and how hard that is, how hard it is to be a man. Right, fellas? I call it a crying shame. So, a man's tears ascend to the precipice of his eyelids and teeter on the rim like a broken soul gazing down from a high up ledge, threatening to take the leap. The man tries to rescue them, to catch them and pull them back, screaming in his mind, "Don't jump, don't you dare." But when they fall, it feels like a mistake, like they lost their balance just when they were going to turn back. The tear's descent is a bitter defeat, a cruel waste of water and salt that should have been expelled as cooling beads on the workman's brow. It feels like betrayal when they escape, like they took the easy way out, like some strength was lost with them. And it's a crying shame. Could you please pass the salt? I'm still working on that, Andy. It's almost there. You know, just seeing a man cry is just a terrible sight. Just terrible. Worst thing you could look at, I swear. All right, let's see. I'm gonna go with this one here. This it'll be a good transition piece right here. Okay, so this one, it's about, you know, getting in touch with nature, where that nature lies. A wolf's hunger darkened his thoughts when he was younger. Pit of his stomach touching his ribs on frozen tundra. A hunter, haunted that he was also hunted. Found his place from nature wherein growth was stunted. Once under the pressure to live when life was wonder. He wandered through a world hell-bent to put him under. He thundered and plundered the storm, swooped like a condor. Death's crooked hand points to war, and so he pondered dark memories that stick with him despite his will to break free. Through desperate eyes he searches inside for his release. Through alleyways of mind once obscured by negativity, and now those eyes have seen light beyond captivity. Social beasts, they huddle with pride and fear of predators, hereditary fetters and fenced in by their creditors. Parasites, they crowned them as kings with pomp and glory. In turn, they spin a sinister story, ghastly and gory. Their memoirs are written the blood of the blissful apathetic, lost innocence, his eyes once transfixed by their sick indulgences. Though now free, some things are hard to unsee. Pulled his leg from the snare, started licking his wounded knee. He walked a trail of tears and he howled at the moon and sea. He buried all his fears, said, "I'll snap to a better me. Let it be that I sniff out the land of milk and honey, out to greener pastures, blossoming bright and sunny, a place that I belong, carefree when I stop running, a palace or peaceful haven where hunters will stop gunning. Till that day I'll survive and I'll bear through the frigid night at the edge of the civilized, rigid and always right, who stress the earth with progress for which they claim to fight. These harbingers of nightmares I'll push through the edge of nights." One more? Do one more.
Sir.
Do one more. This one is a little story time. Story time. So try not to fall asleep. There once was a water troll, lived near the water, grinning smugly, reminiscing over cattle he had slaughtered. Forest creatures grew more wary when they ventured near the lake, For when the trolls see one drinking, that's a life he'd quickly take. Ever lurking in the darkness like a demon most foul, a tall tale to the humans, watched closely by the owl. Outrun by the horses, he would dig in mud for frogs, and snack on salamanders somewhere out by the bog. He scaled the murky waters till he ate up all the fishes. His kind was the main reason that there are no wild chickens. There came one dreary night the troll was chomping on a bone. All around was total quiet, and he found himself alone. Not a single woodland creature had a feeling most strange. This was a new experience, it clearly threw him in a rage. To and fro across the woods, even slashing at the trees. By himself he wailed in anger till he fell to his knees. The thought of remaining days alone, it filled him full of dread. A memory of his dead mom's popped of nowhere to his head. She stopped breastfeeding early, 'cause too often he would bite her. And when she changed his diaper, burned his bottom with a lighter. This was the only love he felt, but it was born out of malice. She said to make him tougher, she would beat him to build callous. There was no place like home, and she called the cave her palace. Fed him red broth from a human skull that she would call a chalice. Often told him they had no one, and she was his only friend. Who would have guessed a little tumor would bring her quickly to an end? Before she passed, she said, "Help me up, I'll die up on my feet. And after I am gone, let this body be as meat. Never should you starve, child, never should you beg. Be a curse on this awful world, take everything instead." Those words rang in his ear as a hissing whispered call. She then left him with his fears, his tears remind her of her fall. From then on he lived in the moment and never thought about tomorrow. He never knew this lust for blood would ever bring about his sorrow. Sitting by the river, he was gazing in the air, realized his constant trolling only masked his despair. The troll thought about the salamanders, thought about the frogs, and he thought about the fishes and the chickens he had wronged. He remembered all the horses that would come and drink and play, and all the other woodland creatures he wished he hadn't chased away. He thought about his mother and how she often lied. He thought there's nothing left to do but to commit suicide. And on this one dreary night, a young boy ventured out alone. All around was strangely quiet, except the falling of a bone. From the mouth of the cave, he then heard a sudden scramble. So he dipped behind some stones before he slipped behind the brambles. Water troll, he ran out, and the boy, he seen his frenzy. He thought, no way, stories of this water troll's no whimsy. The boy peeked out amazed, while the troll was in a craze, attacking everything in sight. Why did he choose this fearsome night? Then all of a sudden, the troll's demeanor took a change. As the boy looked on in silence, saw a sight most strange. The boy stood up in wonder, soon forgetting all his fears. As the troll, no longer raging, started streaming bitter tears. As the boy looked on, he thought, that old troll could use a friend. He said, I could probably help him, I could show him to pretend. The troll took hold of a vine hanging from a nearby tree, tied a noose around his neck and said, now this will end my misery. It seemed he never noticed the boy had climbed up on the branch. He said, when the troll goes swinging, I think that'll be my chance. The troll jumped off the boulder screaming, goodbye, awful life. It was then the boy reached in his trunks and soon produced a knife. The water troll went swinging, strange fruit upon the vine. The little boy started cutting, had a different plan in mind. As the troll fell like a ringing bell, he heard a certain crack. He thought, now it's finally over, before everything went black. But his eyes began to open, vision blurry and out of whack. What appeared a lake of fire was fall leaves seen from his back. It was then a strange face slid to the middle of his view. Looking down, a grinning man-child that said, ha ha, I saved you. That constrictor almost got you, really took you by surprise. But I bit him on his tail and then I poked him in his eyes. And when he shook it off, I already had my knife. And I says, let him go or this blade will take your very life. Well, of course he let you go, and normally I would get a reward. But we'll call this one a freebie, I was feeling kind of bored. The troll was a bit confused, got up unsteady to his feet, thrown by this interaction in a meeting quite unique. He went on, now that I think about it, maybe you could help me with this thing. I embarked on this journey searching for the mystic Toad King. The troll said, well, if death isn't the answer, maybe then a change of scenery. Maybe this King of Toes guy could be like some magic genie. So there they ventured forth into the darkness of the woods. And the trolley wondered about how really little he understood, and why this man cub seemed perfectly content, embarking on a journey with a troll he'd only just met. As for himself, he felt he really had nothing else to lose. Or what's driving this here lad that's so dirty and bruised? Before he raised the question, the boy said, here we should make camp. It's been a hectic day and we could both use a nap. The trolley couldn't argue, he was feeling pretty drained. He thought it can wait until the morrow and then maybe he could explain. As he drifted into slumber, a moment was felt released. It seemed this was the first time he felt a moment of peace. And the stars were in his eyes like the blue twilight skies, and the trees let out a sigh with the breeze that blew by. And the boy said, tomorrow's the beginning of our new lives, in a world where nobody ever has to lie, steal, or cry. And we can be whatever we set our minds to be. You'll see we'll get through this maze and we'll be totally free. And with that he turned over, a troll drifted away, and the boy wondered if things could really work that way. With his new companion, he did dare to hope, but his old life was so unfair that he could barely cope. He left them a letter, yes, he wrote them a song, but it was trampled underfoot and no one noticed he was gone. He really hoped they didn't until he was far away, still wincing a bit from the beating he took yesterday. Was told his dad had been jailed for debts he had no means to pay, and his ma still haunted the plains where she passed away. It seemed an orphanage is where he was born to stay, where he was treated as an inmate with no time to play. It was run by a group of thieves who split from a band of gypsies. They made the orphans steal and they always seemed to be tipsy. Kids barely got a meal while the grown-ups, they lived richly. Ones that gave them the most trouble got jobs that was most risky. Maybe it was the combination of foolhardiness mixed with talent. Had the boy take the worst jobs to spare others an act of valiance. They'd yell, move it, no time for dalliance, you rumscallion. Search every freaking crevice you can fit your flipping hand in. You see, they set a big score, it made them real demanding. Now maybe make sure you get the best baubles and all their fine medallions. The boy gave a nod, then he slipped into the night. Rather than rob, he'd rather be a black raven and take flight. But the fear kept him going, so he slipped under the gate. Fast and quiet like a mouse, he crept into the estate. Clinging to the shadows, he was creeping down the halls, wearing feather-stuffed moccasins, masking his footfalls. Bagged gold and silver trinkets, crystals and jeweled rings. Couldn't stand helping those beasts, so he pocketed a few things. Maybe one day I'll buy my freedom, it was a delightful thought. But I'll never see that day if I linger and get caught. He peered into the master's room where the necklaces all hung, each with a medallion the size of a child's tongue. The old timer was a-snoring along with his old hound. Outside it started pouring, sheer luck to cover the sound. The boy's movements were careful, each chain lifted from hook. But then a sudden bolt of lightning with thunder, the house shook. The old hound perked up an ear, picked up a strange scent in the air, picked up his head. His eyes spotted a stranger. The boy was met with a glare. The hound sounded the alarm as he leapt down to the floor, chomped into the bag as the boy ran for the door. There was a little tug of war, the dog growled as the bag tore. The old master scrambled up as he went for his 4-4. The boy made a dash for it, desperate, he broke free. Quick, he leapt out of a window and felt like he broke a knee, broke into an awkward stride as he ran with all his might. Heard the old master curses as shots rang out in the night. We should have kept you snatching purses, the boy heard come from his side. Hurry up, jump in the wagon, get under the straw and hide. You better make this frickin' worth it. His eyes met the boy with a frown. Keep your head down till we clear out of this bourgeois town. They made it to the safe house where the boss was on the scene. He lit up with a grin, yet somehow still looking mean. Where's my boy? Excited, grinning from ear to ear. Tell me you pulled it off, the frickin' burglary of the year. The boy brought out the bag and realized with sudden fright he'd lost most of the bounty through the hole from the dog's bite. The boss said, "That can't be it, boy. Tell me where's the rest." With that, he leaned in and grabbed the boy by the scruff of his neck. The grin faded, but not the liquor and garbage found on his breath. The boy was pulled up to his toes and his heart was pounding in his chest. See, I would have gotten more, but the plan, it wasn't sound. It's hard to quiet a storm, and he didn't say he slept with his hound. On top of that, he had a pistol. I almost got filled with rounds. But the boss was hearing nothing and threw the boy to the ground. His face went from pissed to twisted up in a rage. He says, "Fellas, give him a beating for a man twice his age." They obliged, and while they did, the boss took a look at the score. There he found the thing he wanted most and yelled, "Don't hit that boy no more." From his hand hung a chain with a gaudy medallion on the end. This ain't a total loss. In fact, it might be my biggest win. Don't ask me how, but the boy's luck went from cold to cooking. I think this is the stone that weird buyer was interested in. With that, they got drunk and went back to the home base. Back to prison, thought the boy, more bitter than blood tastes. He spit it out, choking down feelings like shots that made the rounds. Never noticed someone was watching since escaping the master's grounds. You did good, kid, and as a reward, you can skip your chores for a week. And don't think I'm going soft, but I got something that'll fix your cheek. And as much as I would like to go on in this tale told in rhyme, we've come to the beginning of their quest, a story for another time.
Sticking to the plan. Now I'm searching for a heart, searching everyone. They say love conquers all. Oh, you started like stop with the gun, leaving in the evening, traveling in the night, seeing inconspicuous. Staying out of sight. Now I'm searching for a heart, searching everyone. They say love conquers all. You can't start it like a car, can't stop me with a gun. They tell me love requires a little standing in line. I've been waiting for your love for a long, long time. The pacing for searching for a heart, searching everyone. They say love conquers all. You can't start it like a car, can't stop it with a gun. Certain individuals, I will come around. Now I'm searching for a heart, searching everyone. They say love conquers all. Can't start it like a car, can't stop it with a gun. They tell me love requires a little standing in line. I've been waiting for my lover for a long, long time. Been pacing the floor, I've been watching you go. Meanwhile, I keep searching for a heart, for a heart. I'm searching for a heart. I'm searching for a heart.
Cool.
It's called Victoria County Line. It's basically a road trip from here, Flint area, to the end of like the bottom of Texas. And there's a little place outside Houston called Victoria County. It's crazy. I thought it was, because when you're looking out the window the whole time, you know, everything's there. Victoria County Line. Don't look back. Under the trapeze master's artistry, there is Mississippi River Negro mama woman giving birth to light, swirling, loud machines in the southern gloaming. The odds are against us in the riverboat casino. She is not crying. She is polishing the black stones from the river she was born. Pierdas Negra. She needs more souls for her birds that fall like dried mud dangling from limbs along the riverbed. Her brother and sister are two age-rusted bicycles propped up against the propane tank near the hut she grew up in and just outside Hayti, USA. She's trying to get back to that place where she came from. Tonight, the mosquitoes will arrive and kidnap small animals from the yard and unwed young ladies between the ages of 22 and 35. She asked for water and got kerosene. Her sister, the prettiest one, exaggerates about her misery. Her tangled hair derails the myth that once you've reached the end of the road, there's nowhere else to go. The tangles, the word tangles dangles from. She's buried her head in the sand and twists her hips towards the sun. A moon rises from muddy water in the opposite direction. Joy juice, liquor, movie red interior. I dress up, she lets her hair down, smiling like a jukebox on Saturday night. Strange small towns we happen upon. I was out counting railroad ties and writing poems. She wishes she was the moon. There's someone floating in her drink. I think she was drunk. She's bumping into tables. I'm stirring the ice in time to her eyes. Tonight I will dream of Ulysses and the moon. She's clearing the hair from her eyes. This land branded by parking lots, golden arches, ruined ruins, peeling carpet, broken Genesis, storms and storage waiting to break, armchairs and empty lots, footrests on cornerstones, concrete dividends, drive-ins that release the bats. There is this place of milk and sugar. The road ran off and married the blank distance. The mouth was an abandoned house. The weeds had taken over. I feel bad for that road. It had a lot of promise. Roadside distraction. The house wanted to escape. Victoria, her hair was blowing in the wind, just like the corn. She then parted her legs and the neighbors came by to see if anyone was home. A home is just a house without love. Her eyes were closed, they thought she was dead. The light was on in the little window where the attic lives. I peered inside and saw her ostrich bound by blue ribbons resting in her lap. I was surprised. The window was blinking like she wanted me to kiss her, and I did. Miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles of nothing. It seems like a good place to get lost in, Victoria County Line. The grazing lawn will soon have its revenge. The bruise on her arm will soon disappear. She turns to me in a very convincing manner, though I need no convincing, and says, "Guess who I'm going home with tonight?" I'm sure she's referring to me, as this does happen. With the hands of a seamstress, she puts me together at different seams. I am naked as a hanger on a dry map, with everywhere to go. The dirt was restless. I spit at it to ease its whirling display. She made mercury sounds and rose and settled on my dusty feet. I rubbed her in deep, terra erotica, or petty pedophilia. I'm walking with my ancestors on the 28th of May. God sneezes and I catch man, unkind in the eye. Me, you, them, everyone, Jimmy White the monkey will laugh back. Where is your spoon when you need your spoon? We drink beer out of tallboy cans and smoke our fingers. My dark shadow stretches over the page like I was Nosferatu, writing a letter to my long-lost Romanian cousins in exile somewhere down in South Texas. They own a mercado and deal in fine cuts of meat and various victuals. I asked them about the weather and the state of the children and whether it was all right if I visited. They would have undubious honor of cooking me their finest blood sausage and shrimp from the Gulf of Mexico. I would prepare my own pleasant recipes and supply a few superb joints and sign the letter at the bottom. Best wishes, Frank. Holy moly motor oil. I was trapped by speed and feeling of going somewhere. X marked the spot, and the black tar reminded me of dinosaurs' revenge. And roaming found the New Madrid, steaming in shadows of big water, steeping in southern sun, suspended, crackling in the melding of hips and eyes. I spotted wayward thread. I pulled them until white lines unraveled. Home sweet home tapestries of busted cars rusted in the backyard of everyday America. The highway growls like a hungry 18-wheeler, like my stomach 3 days without eating. There are hydrogen bombs in the deep fryers of roadside distractions down the old plank road. Local library angel made me in the 800s, somewhere between Run with the Hunted and Illuminations. Made me bend towards the self-help, but I was not sure if I was ready for that yet. They are sketching the ground past the roots till there's blood pouring from each red dirt vein. There is something wrong with this idea. Overpass should pass on and meld into the ground. Things like expanding horizons. Some land the color of my arm, but alive. Army of ants, those who fight over sweet muddy spit. Legions of little leaping lizards lounge, laughing in luminous heat of day. Clouds of lost clouds found in my eye, dragged like elephants across the view. Ghosts of the garbage, light from a dime at the end of the atom wandering. Unlike the gutters or restrooms abused or retired 4 times over, the gutters that lead to more gutters. 4 p.m. in the flowers and the water flows down to give them a kiss. We struggle through the eyes of needles to come out the other end, a wrinkled thread hemmed into the soles of our shoes. The light from that Exxon sign keeps me up just like that goddamn dog. Exxon, dog, Exxon, dog, Exxon, dog, Exxon, dog. I met you at the end of the sidewalk, and the 1 o'clock sun steered down the heavy traffic and tragic heat. Your strawberry ice cream cone melts down your skinny brown arm. A bit drops on the tips of your black high-heeled shoes. You bend down and catch the spot. Your strawberry ice cream cone drops on the sidewalk and melts in the middle of the 1 o'clock sun. I've seen that, it's hilarious. She wants the empty skull of bullhorns to place above the head of her bed. I can see Death driving a tortilla cart. He had a flour tortilla taco in his teeth. The police followed close behind in their muddy white cruiser covered in pigeon shit. Death made no wrong turns. Singled left with a skeleton hand and pulled into the empty space. Death loading an unloading zone. The 3 stone children are smiling, fishing off the edge of the gazebo. Their eyes don't blink. They look stone. They are stone, and that's why they're smiling. Sister sidewalk, where raw wandering escapes, scraping streets melt and city trips. Any city. Cats sneak out of kitchens and then return. Poetry runs. The satyrs of the neighborhood dance their wild rides over the hills and far away. Victoria Garden watermelon, past the heartbroken American flags, near their tough unraveling in the heat, 180 degrees, Main Street breakdown. Her hand reaches out to touch my shoulder. We were hungry for each other's straps of light, creases on bed sheets from rented rooms, parallel to bookshelves and the stars, and we rubbed the milk from our eyes.
That's pretty good. Hi. How's everybody doing
Good.
for Friday?
Yeah.
We're excited. Excited. Shout out to Joe Bird and her crew over there. Hey. Ideology 6. Do a little poem real fast. Let's see. It's a bit of a struggle trying to balance an unbalanced mind. That's why it's me versus myself, and I was none the wiser when I refused the counsel of the wise. But out that fire myself I couldn't recognize. That's why I say it's me versus me. You know, the doubts and insecurities, the fear and anxieties, the overcoming pain and grief from past memories. Shit, self-sabotage is real. It be me who be stopping me sometimes. That's why I say it's me versus myself and I. Or me versus my mind and my soul. What's always good for the body ain't always good for my soul and my mind. But we live and learn, hopefully. Burn the passion, don't be. You know, the meaning of insanity, Lord, grant me serenity. Thank you.
I'm gonna do, I don't know, a couple songs, I guess, because I haven't been able to do them in a while. By the way, that was awesome, Rudy. It was fun. Alright, so I used to play in a band around town here called Kinetic Stereo Kids. And we were kind of infamous for, I don't know, our behavior or off stage, whatever. We had some good songs though, and this is one of them. I haven't played it in a while. Let's see if I can still remember it. It's called Mental Gymnastics. I think we only played this twice at the old local, but anyways. Just where I stand,
chance. I know just understand. I know just how to not win. I confessed it all once again. It's brooding in its own way, blowing into my thoughts. I wanna know how to drive. I guess tell about what I love the most and realize it's all changed.
it's July, so it's good. We made it through winter. We're here. It's fucking April. It's almost 420. We're here. We're good. Halloween 420. Only holidays I celebrate anymore, so everything else has become white noise. So, but it's 10 days away, 12 days away technically. I got a couple more before I bring my homie D-Boy up. This is a newer mashup that I made. I like to be unconventional. My first one was Beck, Doors, and Smash Mouth. I got some weird ones. This one's a little bit weirder than that. It's Bill Withers and 50 Cent. So let's do it.
I'm
Telekinesis, lifted up the puzzle pieces. Wasn't dreaming, rumble, wasn't speaking. Undefeated, 100, but we come to keep it. Still kicking, ever since that one we're keeping. On the scene, some are angels, some are demons. The sun bleeding, the past a couple hundred weekends. Once defeated, I recharge, but undefeated. So he got an ass on hold. I'm up undefeated, seeing stars, listen, they in a planetarium. Skeletons in prison like I have a planetarium. She loves the club, couple things, she the baby. They call me radar, boss, yeah, they every day. All singing there every day. All singing there every day. Boy, D-boy, all singing there every day.
Once upon a time I was just running through a couple of emails, know what to do, yeah. Sometimes I was going through, yeah. You ain't lying when we say you can come through,
Flash, acid, magic, man, take a bath in it. That's wet, better yet, that's water. Slaughterhouse 6 in this bitch, who the author? Violent against script, think opposite, think dominant, think opposite, all my king, got shit, yeah. These women's racing scorpion tails, inside twist, feel the torque in my entrails. Like I died a dysentery over God's trail, but I ain't dead yet, I will not fail. Bring the click out like I'm in a rage cage. Clock, tick-tock, song when we sing the same day. Fill the blank page, insane brain waves. Underground roads, navigate the cocaine caves. The big old pill, call me pain free. If I fly, smile, flicker in my daydreams. The wrong.
that's something what I'm gonna do. A couple of years ain't coming through, yeah. If they know what I'm gonna do, D-boy, J-Roll, singing, I'm going through. I'm through, I'm through, yeah. That's about what you gonna do, yeah. I said it's one time, too many got feel. Got the white hat and the vest you reveal. Yeah, little bit of this, like a banana peel on the Mario Kart. That's it to my boy D-boy, all art.
Ancient naughty with my ego in the ecosystem. Vaporizing normal time with people missing. Trouble, Halo, Ayo, mommy, that we ego tripping. Jacob passing soul, distant, got that Vito vision. People system got some pushes, we can get position. I'm just people, damn it, I ain't never gonna be no different. Rolling business is the Katie and grip on the shit. I ride out with this, I'm on the baby, we losing. First song, J the Roll. And it's a way to get smoked, the J Rolls. Yo, and it's a way to go, the J Rolls.
D-boy and G-rolls and the J-roll, yeah. It's like I hear smoke out of the chimney up in me. Rush shot goes for 25 and a windy. I feel like it's just spinning around underground when the Flint and we're going around. It's uptown, in the state, take the highway. I'ma do it my way. If you wanna fly away like a baby bird, what do we enjoy? If you really thoughts, I'll pass it off to D-boy. Yeah.
D-boy, what they call me, was up to the party, do the whole Artwalk. Listen, but then I talk, I make the shit with Jackie, if we stay ready, think the shit with Jay, roll the way that it flows, and let it go. Let it go, let it go. Let it go. What's up, Artwalk? Thanks for having me, I'll be back later.
Give it up for D-boy, y'all.
think of me, 'cause I'm not terrestrial. She's a bit extra than most. Stand up, lose your best, and confused. Sensitive as usual. Do you feel in control?